And tonight's theme, we're going to continue with our Back to Basics series, and I'm going to talk for just a little bit about the third basic guideline. But let's begin with a psalm chanted antiphonally if you feel like joining in with yourself on mute. God whispers to the heart, be still, I am with you. God whispers to the heart, be still, I am with you. God is our refuge and our strength, a present help in times of trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth be moved and shaken. God whispers to the heart, be still, I am with you. We will not fear, though the mountains be toppled into the sea, though the depths of the waters rage and foam. God whispers to the heart, be still, I am with you. Be still and know that I am God. God is with us. God has spoken, and the earth shall melt away. God whispers to the heart, be still, I am with you. Welcome to this digital contemplative prayer group. This is a place for all God's people. Whatever your beliefs or doubts, you are welcome here. If you are new to centering prayer, just follow the instructions as the session unfolds. You are also welcome to use the silence in any other way that is right for you. Loving God, we ask for your blessings upon this gathering, recognizing that we bring the joys and sorrows of our lives here today. If anyone would like to mention silently or aloud expressions of gratitude or concern for ourselves, our families, our friends, our society, or our fragile planet, please do so now.
For refugees and asylum seekers, that they may find a welcome, a Christ-like welcome in this country.
Thank you. I loved that prayer.
God, we trust that you hear our prayers, silent or spoken, wordless or in words. So I'm just going to talk for a few minutes about the third basic guideline of centering prayer, going back to basics, which can refresh our practice no matter how long we've been practicing for. It can be very helpful to come back to these basic guidelines, which, if you're ever feeling confused about centering prayer, feeling like you're getting kind of lost or you're not sure how to do it, just come back to the basic guidelines and unpack them. They contain a lot of richness. They're very, very short and they're very simple. And I find them very reassuring because the practice itself, it's not easy, but it is simple, and the guidelines remind us of that. When engaged with your thoughts, return ever so gently to the sacred word or breath. I think this guideline is the most confusing guideline because people get very caught up in what does that mean when engaged with your thoughts, and how often do I return to the sacred word or breath, and how exactly do I do that, and how do I do it ever so gently? And most of those things come to us through the practice. Just by doing it, we learn how to do that. But I'll just review a few of the ideas behind it. Thoughts is an umbrella term for almost everything, every perception, including our body sensations, our feelings, images, memories that come up, planning, reflections, concepts, commentaries, and even spiritual experiences. Even if you have a kind of a vision in the middle of your centering prayer, you're not supposed to engage with it. You're supposed to just return ever so gently to the sacred word or breath if you need to disengage yourself from it. So we're trying not to get tangled up in our thoughts. We're trying not to get engaged by them, distracted by them. But we're not trying not to have thoughts, because thoughts themselves are inevitable, integral, and normal. I once heard Thomas Keating say, if you stopped having thoughts, then you'd be dead. They're just a normal part of the human experience. So we're not trying to eliminate them or enter into some unusual state where we're not having any thoughts at all. We're just trying to learn how to not be so tangled up in them and reactive to them. We want to put a little more distance between ourselves and our thoughts. We want to remember that we are not the same as our thoughts. We don't want to be too identified with them. We want to remember that they're separate from us, and we can let go of them if we choose. Thoughts are not only natural, but they also are part of the process itself. They contain what needs to be healed in us. Some of them are coming up for a reason, and we don't need to know what that reason is or what the healing process consists of. But we can just trust that our prayerful practice and the silence of the practice are creating a space for that healing to take place. So even if it seems weird and annoying that you're having so many thoughts, or you don't know why you're thinking about that weird thing, why does that keep coming up? Just trust that what needs to happen is happening, and all you have to do is just continue to remain disengaged from your thoughts. Allow them to go by without getting caught by their stickiness. But if you do get caught by their stickiness, or get tangled up in them and distracted by them, even that is not a problem. Each return to your sacred symbol is a prayer and an act of love. So each time you need to return ever so gently to your sacred word or breath to disengage yourself from your thoughts, that is part of the prayer. It's not a failure. It's not a problem. It's just part of the process. We're engaged in a process. It's a confusing process that's quite different from our normal thought patterns. We may not feel like we're very good at it, but we don't need to be good at it. We're surrendering ourselves to a prayerful process, and God is in charge of of what happens during the prayer time, and we don't really need to worry about it or judge it. Thoughts don't interrupt our prayer unless we deliberately engage with them. We let them come and we let them go. Notice the quality of how you're using your symbol. I've heard the story that when these guidelines were being created, at first the guideline was returned gently to the sacred word. And then Thomas Keating came running in and said, no, it needs to be ever so gently, because you really can't emphasize enough the gentleness with which you return. Because we're not very good at being gentle with ourselves. It's much more natural for us to judge ourselves and go, oh, darn it, I got tangled up in my thoughts again, and we chastise ourselves and tell ourselves we're bad boys and girls, but none of that is necessary during the prayer time. It just is a waste of our energy and another thought. So we don't need to judge or beat ourselves up when we become engaged with our thoughts. Just in a very simple way, if you need to, use your sacred symbol, your sacred word or breath, ever so gently. Just touch it with your attention, or sound your sacred word silently, like a little bell calling you back to prayer. Just do it in the most simple, effortless, tiny inner movement, just so that there's as little commotion, as little inner commotion as possible. You don't need to hammer your thought like in whack-a-mole, or cut it off like with a knife, or try to tamp it down. You're just gently turning your attention back to God, away from your thought and back to God, as simply as possible, continuing a kind of a silent conversation that you're having with God. So today I'm going to lead us into the centering prayer with a kind of a guided meditation that continues those themes. So I invite you to take your posture with your back straight and your body flowing out from your spine, and your hands and feet in a comfortable, stable position. And just scan your body and notice, are you in a natural, alert position, not rigid or tense? Is there anything you need to let go of or adjust or give a little wiggle to or breathe deeply into, to just prepare your body to be comfortable during the time of prayer? Your body is a wonderful container for your prayer. And bring your attention to your symbol, whether you're using the sacred word or the sacred breath. You can just very silently sound your word, or just touch your breath ever so gently with your attention. And whatever thought comes to you, if you notice yourself thinking about that thought, just ever so gently bring your attention back to your symbol. And allow a sense of God to come to you, an image, a feeling in your body, a sense of opening to mystery, gratitude, unknowing, community. Return your attention to your symbol not concentrating on it, but very lightly touching it, saying yes to God. Allow all of your experience, whatever you notice, to just be there. You can be aware of it without focusing on it. Allow it to be in your awareness, but as if it is becoming more and more transparent, lighter. Again, whatever thought comes to you, if you notice yourself thinking about that thought, just ever so gently bring your attention back to your symbol. And notice your breathing, effortlessly breathing itself in you. Rest in God's presence and in openness. This is a passage from David Fernett's The Path of Centering Prayer. I'll read it 3 times, and then I'll invite you to share a word or phrase that resonated for you. Listen with the ear of the heart. Acting in gentleness shifts you out of the struggle to find God. Gentleness is necessary for the deepening of centering prayer. Your actions become more and more subtle in centering prayer as contemplation awakens in you. Actually, the sense that you have to achieve something, find some deeper depth, or go somewhere to discover God, other than where you are now, is an illusion. Let contemplation come effortlessly to you as a continual gift out of the gifting nature of God. Contemplation is effortless in the same way that the falling of snow is effortless. It is effortless in the same way a light breeze blowing on your neck is effortless. It is effortless in the same way that the petals of a flower open into the sunlight. In receptive effortlessness, there is nowhere to go, nothing to deepen, not even any need to be gentle. The depth of contemplation is just being effortlessly in God. Acting in gentleness shifts you out of the struggle to find God. Gentleness is necessary for the deepening of centering prayer. Your actions become more and more subtle in centering prayer as contemplation awakens in you. Actually, the sense that you have to achieve something, find some deeper depth, or go somewhere to discover God, other than where you are now, is an illusion. Let contemplation come effortlessly to you as a continual gift out of the gifting nature of God. Contemplation is effortless in the same way that the falling of snow is effortless. It is effortless in the same way a light breeze blowing on your neck is effortless. It is effortless in the same way that the petals of a flower open into the sunlight. In receptive effortlessness, there is nowhere to go, nothing to deepen, not even any need to be gentle. The depth of contemplation is just being, effortlessly, in God. Acting in gentleness shifts you out of the struggle to find God. Gentleness is necessary for the deepening of centering prayer. Your actions become more and more subtle in centering prayer as contemplation awakens in you. Actually, the sense that you have to achieve something, find some deeper depth, or go somewhere to discover God other than where you are now, is an illusion. Let contemplation come effortlessly to you as a continual gift out of the gifting nature of God. Contemplation is effortless in the same way that the falling of snow is effortless. It is effortless in the same way a light breeze blowing on your neck is effortless. It is effortless in the same way that the petals of a flower open into the sunlight. In receptive effortlessness, there is nowhere to go, nothing to deepen, not even any need to be gentle. The depth of contemplation is just being effortlessly in God. I invite you to share a word or phrase that resonated for you.
being effortlessly in God.
Just being effortless in God.
The giving nature of God.
Receptiveness.
Gentleness.
Let's close by saying together the prayer of Jesus. Ground of all being, Mother of life, Father of the universe, your name is sacred, beyond speaking. May we know your presence. May your longings be our longings, in heart and in action. May there be food for the human family today and for the whole earth community. Forgive us the falseness of what we have done, as we forgive those who are untrue to us. Do not forsake us in our time of conflict, but lead us into new beginnings. For the light of life, the vitality of life, and the glory of life are yours, now and forever. Amen. Well, thanks for being here tonight. It was wonderful to be with you.
Night.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay.